How are you doing, Tesla family? Here's back with another video where I want to give you all a very brief update on the state of the markets, Tesla, SPY, the Q, and a few other tickers. In a little more than an hour, Jerome Powell will begin his address, which is something else I'll discuss. Most likely the two most information before I discuss the potential impact on the market from Jerome Powell's speech. Just to be clear, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take anything I say as one. Please also click the Webull link, which is located in the descriptions and down below, if you have the chance. If you put $500 into the Webull account, you will receive 20 complimentary stocks. 75 complimentary stocks are yours if you deposit $25,000 or more, and it concludes in a matter of only a few weeks. In any case, I predicted that Tesla may slightly decline in the morning and then seize liquidity all the way down to this about 162 to 164 zone. Subsequently, I predicted that the market may rise later in the day, which might potentially assist Tesla in reaching this higher zone. That is precisely what transpired, particularly in light of the recently released statistics. Jerome Powell, however, is going to be another factor. In a moment, I'll discuss that, and after that, I'll briefly break down the charts. What is going on now, then? I simply wanted to let you know that additional information regarding Tesla receiving downgrades is starting to surface. Greater analysts are predicting greater downside. Another HSBC analyst has stated that Tesla may experience further declines. In addition, they maintained a lower rating for Tesla and lowered their price estimates to roughly $138 per share. Additionally, they're hinting that Tesla's stock price may drop by 17% from its current level. As a result of the delivery issues and other challenges that are impacting them on a macroeconomic level, we are witnessing an increase in the number of experts expressing this opinion. That's why I gave you all a heads up on this yesterday. Information such as these should not come as a surprise. Furthermore, as of right now, Tesla isn't really falling due of this because it already plummeted so much. On the other hand, Tesla may suffer if unfavorable catalysts continue to surface. Just be ready for that then. But as of right now, just as we anticipated, Tesla is slightly outperforming the market. What is the state of the markets now? Just to let everyone know, I issued a watch for volatility at 10 a.m., and at that time, the SPY witnessed a significant jump. In just 5 minutes, SPY pumped like 2 points. Thus, in approximately 5 minutes, SPY had a strong pump, which also assisted the market in pumping. Apple and Nvda followed the same trend, and the release of the ISM services data is the cause of this. It's not terrible that the PMI was below forecasts, but new orders and prices will be the two main factors I watch. Thus, this data was released. Prices for this industry are similarly lower, and new orders are really below forecasts. This implies that there may be a slight slowdown in the economy for this industry. Additionally, this has a little better impact on inflation. In fact, this is fairly positive news, and the market surged as a consequence. We now have another release scheduled for 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jerome Powell is currently delivering a speech. We'll see if Powell pumps us or not, because the market will react to everything Powell says. It begins at 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is a little more than an hour after the release time of this film. What then? Do I perceive as the market? How do I think things are going? Let's dissect this in terms of Tesla. Tesla entered this liquidity zone by slightly declining. In contrast to this low, we actually made a higher low, and we are currently attempting to push to our 20 EMA at 166.1737. Also, resistance is present at 167.5, indicating that Tesla is indeed making some progress and appears to be doing well at this point. And Powell will choose whether or not this action is carried out. The market is currently extremely enthusiastic ahead of his speech. Thus, theoretically, Tesla might attempt to test 167.5. And if we break through this, we could actually reach very close to 170 if Powell pumps the market really hard. I think Tesla may quickly drop back down to approximately 162 if Powell pulls a rug. There is a chance that Tesla may really surge higher because of the chart's bullish appearance, but Jerome Powell's actions will ultimately determine this. Nothing is guaranteed, but since the chart appears to be displaying some life, simply keep that in mind, and it might even be a good thing. In the morning, SPY dropped to 517.5. Watch support right here, like I instructed. Anticipate a move in the opposite way back up if we produce a higher low in relation to this low, and that's exactly what happened. Since we experienced a great rebound, I will be observing resistance at or very near 521 as a crucial resistance. This is the point at where the prior support turned into resistance, and we still need to close the distance at 522. Thus, SPY appears to be bullish and is attempting to rise, but there is a significant but. Who knows what trouble Jerome Powell, who is also arriving, will cause? The market is really upbeat when he delivers his remarks. Powell's market-pushing actions may easily boost SPY to 522+. Powell might yank the rug from under SPY, bringing it back down to 518. or even lower. 516 might be returning shortly. It does appear that it will attempt to push higher given how much it plummeted in such a short amount of time, but we'll have to wait and see what Powell says. To be objective, I will tell you that everything relies on what he says. Now he could say anything he wanted to. He may give us more of a boost now that some favorable economic news has surfaced, but who knows? The market is enduring fairly nicely. Essentially the same thing for the QQQ. After a strong push over 440, we dropped to roughly this 438 zone, and now this resistance is there in front of us. Thus, this is where we had prior support at 443.25. There is resistance in the 443 region right now. Overall, we went to this precise level, which I had mentioned on the QQQ in my early morning video. Powell may now continue rising, leaving us with a gap that needs to be filled all the way to 445 or 446, and then we might drop back to roughly 440, if not 438, if Powell ends up pulling a rug. The QQQ is currently exhibiting some life. This might actually rise, but Powell's actions will determine that. So try not to become very focused on that. We'll wait and see what the big guy has to say. Aapl is in the same boat. I only wanted to bring up the fact that Aapl was facing pushback with this white trend line. We are currently testing this 170 area after breaking through this. In my opinion, if Powell's optimism continues, we may close this gap and move up to 171.5. If he puts a lot of pressure on us and we pull the rug, Aapl may drop back to 169 or even below. We'll see how everything goes, so keep an eye on things. Nvda is heading in the direction of 900, but as I mentioned earlier, it's not as powerful as it once was since, as you can see when you zoom out, it has a lovely head and shoulders structure. Therefore, it might actually generate a lower high even if it does pump a little bit. It might begin to pump a little before receiving a rejection. Thus, use caution when using Nvda there, but for the time being, let's just focus on the levels and sort of overlook the head and shoulders. In addition to 908, we have 900 as resistance. Support is available at 892 and 888.5. Nvda is holding up really well overall. Powell might push us up to 908 plus, but so far I think it's holding up quite nicely. We'll see. I'll see. Having said that, there is some life in the market. Powell may cause Tesla to go slightly higher or lower. Everything hinges on what he says. Thus, some better movements are being observed. Permit me to discuss a few more. If we push higher, super micro, keep an eye out for resistance at 1,000, 1,020 above that, and 1,050. Keep an eye on support at 980. 950 is up next if we lose that. This graph appears to be giving some hope for a recovery overall, but we'll have to wait and see what Jerome Powell does. Furthermore, this is indicating some life if we look at Coinbase, not SoFi Coinbase at this time. However, exercise caution as there may be a structure resembling a head and shoulders. I would still use caution with this chart because it might pop and then finally come down later. In any case, it is exhibiting some life for a brief resurgence. Amzn is attempting to surpass 1825. We might be aiming for 183 once more if we keep going. Watch for a push for 184 plus if we break this. We will be returning to 180 if we receive a rug pull. 178 is up next if we lose that. Thus far, we appear optimistic about Amzn. Additionally, Meta is trying to break above resistance at 505, which is why it is looking more optimistic. See if we can attempt to break it later and go all the way up to roughly 510 if they start to decline a little. Powell is launching us, so 510 is on the way. We will be plunging all the way back into the 490s if he gives us the finger. In general, I'll be keeping an eye on these charts and exercising patience. Prepare for Powell's speech, which will take place in just over an hour. Do what you need to do, folks, and we'll see how things work out. That being said, I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak with you all again in a little over 2 hours. I'll summarize some of Jerome Powell's remarks here, pardon my oversight, and let you know that Tesla has some positive potential because the market as a whole is pulling it up. After that, we'll see what Jerome Powell brings about. Okay, I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all in a few hours. With gratitude and goodbye.